What, y'all reading it now.
The four agreements.
Just like this. Yeah, but it's locked. I'll take it downtown, somebody can take it downtown and buy. Same one. I was walking down the street, we was sitting on the side. Same exact time, just like that. But that's the newest one, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So I know somebody, man. They left.
Oh, they left it?
Yeah,
Dropped
sitting
out
on
at
sitting
bad
on the side. Like, was down, they call it, dropped it,
Yeah.
and sitting there, I walked past, I picked it up, and yeah, the screen protector, and all, it's just locked. So you can't get in. So I'm taking downtown and so it's just not gonna do it.
That's pretty good.
One of those like food stores that we did. Since they all do it. We do it.
Yeah, that's all I know. That's all I know. What is this part?
We need to buy new weapons. It used to be big. That used to be.
Let's talk about you.
Yeah. That is correct. Still.
Things of all the Reese candies.
He dropped out of my, the dirt program. And the copy, there is a space for the street. The fact of the fraction.
Research.
Page 4.
Well. Okay, thank you. Would you give the pizza to me?
Yeah, I have something else. That girl. But, oh,
See what key is. Out to it.
Hey,
Hello, hello.
there you go. Everyone have a vote and Did you let Jessica sit there and you talk to one of the, one over here? How you doing?
I'm doing better. Yeah, I'm still tired, but
Yeah,
it's fall time now.
yes, it is, right? It is. And,
It came so fast. Like,
Well,
oh,
2 more days of the
yeah, officially,
year.
but it felt like fall for like a week or two.
Well, I feel hot today for me.
it was a little warmer today, but the nights.
Yes,
Probably so. Yeah, probably so.
I will take on my long sleep early. I'm glad I
Did you-
did, because the paint got on my arm.
Chicken? No. Okay, I'm into something.
yeah, you checked and everything, please,
Hi, I'm just checking the order. I think something was missing from the order.
Which one, the one I just did?
Yeah, I had, yeah, the one you just, there was supposed to be, chicken with it?
What's the address?
950 Bergen Street. Yeah, there was, 32 plain wings.
They disrespect. That sweet one bit me in my eye.
That's crazy. That's
Uh,
so
you know,
disrespectful.
Yeah.
So disrespectful. They don't.
I like that.
I mean, I don't know why, though, it's good.
I was feeling bad. I was gonna take it off.
So, you know, this is just my company.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you have
yeah, that's crazy that I found just like that same stuff.
that.
No, right there. I don't know.
Oh, the tablet.
Yeah,
About one. That.
it was sitting up the street right on the ground. People thought, right on the ground. Mhm. You know, with the screen protector, right on, yeah, got the screen protector in there. It's locked up.
I don't know, if I told you,
It does have.
pay 25,
Yeah.
you know.
So if they jailbreak, they ain't gonna try and drill me, right?
It's right.
Oh, what, you jailbreak?
Oh, okay, all right.
Me.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna put my coffee.
I was in route. My scooter was giving cut in the beginning.
They want this school to fast out and still we don't go to black.
I think the black one might be faster. Yeah, because when I try to use the silver ones, like, I mean, sometimes they're hard. My body weight, the slow, but also like you're in a motorized.
Yeah, it's still.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
I can't say, I know black one, 4 pills on time.
And they're cheaper,
They are. They way cheap.
yeah,
All right.
but those bikes not comfortable.
We're already, we're a little late, so we'll get started, and Julie called, she had a minor, well, thankfully, it's a minor accident.
Like car accident?
Yeah, like a child ran into her car and then by people were such as that. I don't know what brother does, because he's always first
Right.
one time, so we just hope that he's all right. But we're thankful that shows that it's here, and I'm sure Jamie will be coming in. So this is our last week on this book, and we want to save a few minutes at the end. We're gonna talk about choices or suggestions for our next book. Let me fix this back. And when we'll get started, okay? So welcome, Jessica, thank you for just doing this, and pushing through this text, and I'm looking forward to the web conversation. So let's just welcome Jessica.
Hey, big guy. Here, we're live. Shout out to y'all also, whether you're here only 1 week, or you've been here all weeks, or you've been here a couple of them, I appreciate you for coming and contributing your energy and your voice to the space and your thoughts about the work. It's really important for us to reflect the space that we consume. And it's really cool for us to be able to come together as a group and do it. So I appreciate y'all for whatever that may have been. And as I do all our sessions, I pull a card, you know what I mean? The only kind of cards I don't pull is spades. I don't play that because that's a fight. So I don't play those card games, but I do like to, pull cards sometimes. And I think our first week I pulled from this neutral deck, which was kind of like a meditation deck. And mudras are things that you can do with your hands that enhance certain kind of like properties, and the mudras can also come with mantras or things that you can chant to yourself in your mind, or you can chant out loud, whatever, feels best for you, right? So we're just gonna pick one for today and see what comes out, and then we're gonna just go into the day. See what y'all have to say about this last agreement. I think it's super important. I think the author talks about this being like the most, agreement of them all, which is. It's also something that my grandfather, I feel like, used to say to me all the time. Like, he always used to be like, do your best. Just do your absolute best. If you can do your best, then that's all that matters. And I was like, you're right, granddaddy, that's true. So I still keep that.
And there's one thing that my grandfather gave to me, is when you don't expect too much out of somebody, that's when somebody can do good.
That's true. I can hear that. I can feel that for sure.
I always talk that saying, he,
Give people space to be who people are. You know what I mean? I feel like go hand in hand with like the agreement about not making assumptions. Just let people be who people are, and put it what you are.
I was always told, stop hanging with people that want to drink through your cup, not fill your cup back up, and that cup empty. I'm like, that's what I meant. I said, stop hanging with people that's gonna drink from your cup, but not fill your cup back up when it's halfway full. I said, Mom, you sharp to the razor. Well,
Right.
said, I had to go to the hospital.
I hear that. I talk about that. Yes, I hear that. Hear that. For sure.
That was my father.
It is. Definitely. Gotta take note of that.
I'm like,
Yeah, you gotta know who's for it who's taking a vote. What people are here for. Intention is everything. Some people say one thing and do another thing.
some people say you live and more eyes.
There we go. Okay, so the card that came out is alignment. This is like the hand gesture. So this is what the mudra looks like. I'm also gonna like explain the mudra. Exactly. It's just like that. Right? So this is the Dharma Pravartana mudra. It assists with integration, harmony, and balance. Its benefits is that it assists in settling all elements and systems of the body, of setting all elements and systems of the body on the path to health and self-healing. Supports energetic well-being, helps to integrate all elements, and opens one to inner peace and inner knowing. It includes all the elements. The focus or the mantra is all of who I am is in perfect alignment and well-being. Lovely. And the instructions are to touch the tips of all your fingers together to make a small dome. And align the edges of the thumbs with the fingers parallel. Exactly. Keeping all other fingers together, gently bend the knuckles to form a rounded space, the palms, and place the hands in front of the solar plexus. So the solar plexus is like right above your belly button. No, that's it. Literally it. That is literally it. That's literally it.
The solar plexus like right here.
Yeah, it's like right above your belly button.
That's where you get hit right here. It's like the solar plexus, like underneath your heart, in between the chest cavity.
Yep, underneath your heart, right above your belly button.
You don't want to get hit there.
Oh yeah, no, that'll definitely like take you out. So, we will for sure tap back in with this mudra. So remember it. I also sell a picture, so there's no quiz there. Just imagine that you're holding a really fluffy ball. That's neutral, like,
I'm thinking about, the world's smallest cheeseburger.
yeah. Oh, my God, I don't know about, okay, well, obviously,
Cheeseburgers can be small, I mean,
no, I mean, but if it's cute, like, aren't you gonna wanna like, you know, oh, make it cute?
cheeseburgers,
Yeah. Yeah, but maybe you don't eat it, maybe you just look at it, and be like, oh my God, that's so cute.
Let's go eat it.
Look,
Like Kathy burgers are small.
yo, no, white pepper burger, Jesus, that's all I got. That's all I got, but it's one of my like White Households and my like this place. Like,
I go to cousin on a Big Mac.
oh my gosh, you know, I hadn't had a Big Mac until I was like in my late 20s. And I worked at McDonald's and I never ate one.
Now, you can't trust me.
I used to cook them and didn't eat them. And I was like,
The Big Mac or the Whopper, those are my two top.
yeah, I hadn't had a Whopper.
Makes you big, man.
The Whopper
Okay.
is perfect size.
Well, I'm a newbie.
I put really smoke a Whopper.
I feel that. So this last agreement here, is the agreement that, brings all the other agreements together. Right? And to like revisit those agreements. And just for, you know. I'm like, I need give me a table of contents. There we go. So our first agreement was to be impeccable with your word, right? Mean what you say what you mean, right? The second agreement was don't take anything personally. The world does not revolve around you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if there are other, you know, reasons for being so, that's fine. I'm not gonna. The third agreement is don't make assumptions, right?
Yes.
Don't assume nothing. We were talking about it last week, you know, don't assume that things will be different. If, like, you know how we should have put a word on.
Yeah, it's like the definition of crazy. You keep on doing the same thing, but picking up different results.
And you just be like, dang, this isn't working.
Eventually, you got to remove yourself or get out the picture.
Right. Exactly. So our last agreement is always do your best. Always do your best, okay? No matter how many times.
I got the question, but how would you know if you truly is doing your best?
That's a really great question. That's a great opening question. How do you know you're doing your best? I think for me, I know I'm doing my best when I'm giving 100% of myself to a thing. And that thing is also giving itself to me. I don't know who said this to me. One of my mentors probably said this to me. They were like, yeah, one of my mentors told me, if you give 100% of yourself to a project or a place or a thing, and it gives you 100% back, like that's all you can ask. You know what I mean? So that's what it
Depending on
feels
what you get out.
Yeah, like I know when I'm not working to, like I can feel in my body when I'm not working to the capacity in which I feel like I'm able to. Thank you.
There's been times where I may have got the best results, but I didn't feel like I did my best. That's why that's a tricky question, because even when we may feel as though we slack, and somebody else might think, hey, this is on our feet.
But it's all about what we think.
Yeah, 'cause that's what I'm saying, but sometimes what we may think, sometimes it's an outside person that wants to fix our own way of thinking. I used to always think negative about myself, and somebody else, my outside, told me on my good part.
I feel that. I think as long as.
Think too deep about stuff,
I think that as long as you're able to know what your best is and not, you know, make your best someone else. You have to know.
A lot of you compare your own self to somebody else, and that's what he felt. And God gave all of us a distinct uniqueness for ourselves. We should not look at it as small because somebody else got a mansion, you only got a 2-bedroom house. Yeah, you got what you got, God give you what you got, so you stay for that, and that's it.
Comparison is deep joy.
That's why, that's called jealousy. That's
Gotta
like
keep up with everybody else, that's how you feel. Gotta keep up with yourself.
That's facts.
And no feeling is actually a sin, it's just how you use your feeling.
I see somebody with a mansion, I'm not gonna go out there with the man. I'm gonna appreciate the little house that I got. Nice little house. I can make this house look the same way like you got your mansion look.
I don't care if I live in a
I don't
cardboard
give a
box,
all
I
that.
still won't be happy. He's probably was homeless his whole life, man, he's happy, he's happy. That's how I look at it.
I feel that. Yeah. As long as like,
Bro, let me find you got a book coming out.
whatever. Tell us, let us know the release date. But I think, you ever like had a test and you left the test and you was like, dang, I could have did better.
Oh, it's not.
Ah.
Yeah.
And you know that feeling when you like leave a test and you know you like freak that, you was like, oh, I got that test, like it's in the bag.
And before they destroyed Hesper and made that new program, what they call it now? I don't know what they call it now, but I passed Hesper on the first try, and I literally slept throughout the whole test because I was homeless. Now, people out on the streets, I could not go to sleep on the street because I was afraid of what may happen. And I still passed the test with the last 5 minutes of each section. And I feel and to this day, I still feel as though I could have did that.
But you did your best and you freaked it.
Because the minimum was 200. You know the score was.
Oh, I think you got to the house.
I got like 265 on the English, 250 on the math, and I'm good at math.
You know, my math teacher told me in high school, if I want to get better at math, to stop watching TV. So like I stopped watching TV. And it worked, but I feel like it was just trying to make me stop watching TV. like,
So you can
not-
concentrate or focus better, maybe that was like a floor.
Yeah,
Help you focus, yeah, maybe so.
Well, I watched a whole bunch of TV.
see, so
I don't.
I just got photographic memory, so God made cheap.
My TV is my phone.
I feel
I
like,
did.
I watch a lot of
I watch
anime,
movie on my
anime
phone.
actually teaches a lot.
oh yeah, my friends love anime.
I got tired of watching TV, then when I wake up, my TV talking about what happened last night. Because my response is, I don't know, I couldn't sleep.
What, we was watching you, we was watching you.
I used to watch CNN. I used to watch CNN every day as a kid until one day a horror found me to the point I used to get the whole world from me.
My favorite channel though was Animal Planet Science. Oh, that's all I used to watch.
Or how it make.
Animal Planet, I love them too.
I used to love how I make it. They teach you about anything and everything and how it's made.
You can have some good stuff.
I used to watch Spike TV too, Man Shirt. It was an 8-year TV show. They used to say if you say musty, mosquitoes will invite you.
It don't matter. The mosquitoes is outside and we is outside.
I know I did try to learn. That's why I know that. That's why I really bothered me. I did not watch it for a week and see. And they still.
I hate that people do that. I hate that people's out here spreading that misinformation. Right? It's ridiculous, but
I
something,
was like 14, so
but that's what I'm saying. That's wild. That kind of information should not be out in the world for people, no matter what age, in order to access that and believe that, unless that's your religion.
That's why I killed 911.
Well, he talks about how if you always do your best, there is no way that you can judge yourself. If you always do your best, there's no way you can judge yourself. And if you don't judge yourself, there is no way you are going to suffer from guilt, blame, and self-punishment.
That's deep. That's deep. That's deep. And it's true.
Literally, I feel that.
That's deep.
So like, has there been, like the example of a test, right? What test was it for you, right? That, whether it's a test of life or like an actual test that you took in school or in a program or whatever, where you felt like you did your best and didn't judge yourself?
My problem is that I know there ain't no such thing as perfect, but I try to make it. And that's probably one of my biggest downfall, you know, it's the truth, but I can't help it. So every test, I always like second guess myself and you know, kind of do better. Like even when when I was to do the prep, I passed the prep, I got 49 on the questions out of the 50 right. And I'm like, I could have got that one question beating to myself. And the teacher like, why you want me to take the test? You already had. I'm like, no, I want to get all the questions right.
I think we have to always think about like, it's always about intention. You know what I mean? It's always about the why, not the what. Okay, it's about the why. Right? So like, if I needed a 6 for me in school, I needed a 65 to pass. Was I ever trying to get a 65? No. I was not trying to get a 65 because my mama was not having it, right? But I was like, listen, that's what I need to pass. There's been so many times where I've taken tests and I've been like, for example, I got an A in a political science class in college. I swear to God I failed. You understand? Like I was convinced that I failed. I was convinced, and I walked out of the test like I freaked it, like I did it, like I felt like, you know, American history. I was like, I got this. Like it's all the same thing. Like, you know, slavery, misogyny. Like I understand. Like it's dumb. You know, the patriarchy. Anyway, I really thought I thought I failed the class, and so I withdrew from the course, which means that the actual like grade doesn't count towards my GPA. It just says that I passed the class. It doesn't say that I got an A. So then I do that. True story. Like a freshman in college, like 2010. True story. I withdrew from the course thinking, okay, I failed this course. Like, if not failed, I got like a D, and that's bad, right? I'm like, I don't want that to count towards my grade point average. So I withdrew from the class. And then during the summertime, I got a letter to my house from the political science department at my university telling me that I'm in like the top 3% of the course.
Wow.
And that they're inviting me to something like I got like a thing.
Wow. Great.
And I withdrew from the course because I was judging myself so harshly. I was like, oh, like I don't get it. I don't.
You like to this day, I still beat myself up because I would have graduated from high school at 2014, but I didn't do my community service hours, and French threw me into a primary class the last year of my senior year, and I like literally writing is 100%, but writing is only 40% towards the grade. The verbal is 60%. I don't know how to speak it from nothing. The only thing I know how to say is we and bonjour. So I failed because of that, and I just gave up, and to this day I still regret it. And I had got college courses, classes at NJIT, because I was always in honor classes. I actually have 5 credits right now, still waiting for me if I actually get my GED. I was doing criminology, and I passed 100% on it. But I just gave up because it's like, if I didn't know how to speak that language, I just gave up, and I still regret it to that.
But you know, we're talking about doing your best, right? So it's important to think about, did I do my best, right? For you in that situation, did you do your absolute best? Is there any better that you can do now?
Yes.
If there is better that you can do now, then do that best.
Right.
Do that best and see how that lands you, because you know the best you had before. And the book talks about this as well, right? Your best not being the same every day, right? So like he talks about everything is alive and changing. This is on page 7. Everything is alive and changing all the time. So your best will sometimes be high quality, and other times it will not be as good. Right? When you wake up refreshed and energized in the morning, your best will be better than when you are tired at night. Your best will be different when you are healthy as opposed to when you are sick, or sober as opposed to when you're drunk. Your best will depend on whether you feel wonderful or happy, or upset, or angry, or jealous.
That's deep, it's true. Deep.
So many
I
things.
definitely have to read that this book from the beginning.
Look, get into it. Like
It's a good book. Yeah.
You have to think like, my best is my best. I would go like, maybe my best today is an A+, but my best tomorrow may be a C. But it's still my best though. Right, so I can't, if I don't, it's my best. Right, it's top tier for me, right? It's the best I could do. Right, and like, I think missing the mark about understanding like what's the best that we can do. For me, I know it's been super hard. Because I was severely criticized and judged for all the things I did as a young person.
Yeah.
Which I believe is why I'm so highly insecure. Which it's a double issue. But I was judged so harshly that I judged myself so harshly. Like, I was good at school, but school was hard. Like, I thought I was gonna die. Okay. I was in the hospital many times. Like, I was like, I'm good at this. Education is lit. Also, like, anxiety around it was so high. Right, there's so much pressure to perform, to get certain grades, to be in certain programs, to like, there's like, it's all this competition. And I just, it's a lot to deal with on your body. That's why it's about doing your best, you know what I mean? That's why it's about, because I compared myself to a lot of people while I was in school.
My problem, I never compared myself. It was just like always like mad at everybody. Like, why was my teammate doing that? I was homeless. Why I was the only one that running from diapers? Why I was the only one that had to deal with certain things? And I was so angry, and like I had worked this hard for this long, and one class got me out. That's how I felt. And that's why I kind of had ran away from it. It was like I felt like everything was just unfair. But eventually I grew up and realized all that I was thinking was just excuses. I should have just said, forget it, took the chance when they said at 19 I could have continued and had did the one course, and I could have did the one course and graduated.
But you can still do it.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the decisions that you made, and that's about like the shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Like, you did your best. You made the best decision you could make at the time when you made the decision. Right? It was in service to whatever you needed at the time. So it's your best. That's why it's important to know your why. Whatever your why is, that's the thing you continue to follow. Right? If your why wasn't like education based, which is absolutely fine because education is not the entire world, right? There's real life. Real life be happening. People need places to live. People need food in their belly. People need money. Like, there are things that sometimes come before education. Like, there are many times where I've been hungry at school. You know what I mean? Like, food, all that stuff, our basic needs go before any of that, right? So you made the best decisions. And I used to be really hard on myself for going into grad school. Right? My mom was grad school, I think she went twice. Right? And I'm like, dang, I need to go. Right? Like, I had to like get through that. And I still am working through it. It's a lot. You know what I mean? But it's important to know that, like, for me, I know I tried. Like, I applied. It's not like I never, you know what I mean? Like, I tried.
Yeah.
And I did do my absolute best at the time. I know I did my best. And it was still hard. It was very hard. But I did my best. And so because I did my best, I'm trying not to really pressure myself about it.
I think it was more my problem was that I knew I did my best, but I kept comparing me to my younger cousin about she's going to college, how she's going to she's thriving, and it was that was really beating me down. You know that I'm homeless. You was going through a disease that you cannot go through with mentally, and you was not know how to handle it. So I ran away from home because I didn't know how to handle that either. And you compare me to a young woman that been in the household with both parents, had the support of you and both parents, and you always telling me how I could have did better because of what but she been dealt with a better hand than me. I played the hand I could play. That's it.
And that's so funny you said that. Because I was really about to say this. Crazy me. The way spirit be spirited, it's crazy. But I had literally one of the baddest bitches in town, okay? Bad. Sit me down and talk to me one day. And she said to me, listen, once I started playing the cards that were to like in my hand that were dealt to me, that's when I started playing. Right? Instead of wishing for other hands, I played my hand. Stop asking for new ones, or wishing I had a different hand, or wishing I could just swap out some cards. I just said, well, this is what I got. You know what I mean? And I think that says a lot about accountability, you know, being like, okay, this is it. Acceptance, you know what I mean? There's lots of things that happened to many of us that were completely unfair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That should have never happened.
I always look at like somebody else got it worse than me, so why can I?
And also, I went through that. It was hard. I did my best. I did my best.
Right.
I did my best. And that's like, that's all that matters. Like, because as long as we don't believe that we did our best, and I know it's hard because sometimes like growing up, it was hard for me to believe I did my best. I feel like I could always do better. But no, sometimes like you really just do your best and like that's it. Like if you work out, right? And you go to like your max, right? Your limit. Like that's your limit. That's it.
I don't think your limit is 5.
Right,
That's your limit.
right.
You can't get mad at the other person doing 20.
Because you can do 5 and that's fine. You just gotta be okay. It's about acceptance, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Accepting like where we're at, you know, what we got. Like I used to be so mad at like the hand I was dealt. And, like, so mad about it. And rightfully so. It's angry. It's angry. LOL. It's upsetting. Sometimes I speak in internet speak. It's really, but it's wild. But it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Because honestly, that's what kept me motivated and kept me moving. Because I thought about like this. When Dr. Martin Luther King was around, when slavery was still existing, when you had to walk across the street because the white man walked down the street, how did they feel? So what can I complain about? At least I can go ahead and go to the books and open it up and read it without getting beat up. So I'm like, well, I cannot complain. That's what motivated me to keep on moving forward. But I cannot imagine going to the city. I can imagine running away there home when she was 4. I can imagine none of that.
That's really important. But as I started learning about my ancestry and I was like where I was from and these things, I was just like, you know, all of these people, I don't know what the infographic is, but it's like, you know, to make you, it took like thousands of people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, you needed like 2 parents, 4 sets of grandparents, like you needed all these people to make you.
Yeah.
And so all of those people had to go through what they went through and do the best under the conditions that they had. Like, the conditions were deplorable. And our ancestors still did their best. And they had to, one, because I think another thing that really helps me feel free, and they talk about this in this chapter as well, is like understanding the systems that operate in the world. Because this whole book is about dreams. Like this whole book is about like seeing things as if they weren't, you know what I mean? Like not being able to see yourself clearly in your brother or your friend or like, you know, so it's like this world, America is ruled by capitalism, okay? White supremacy be out here, okay? Like the patriarchy is still patriarching, okay? There's so many different systems that operate in America that are moving at the same time while we're moving. So if we feel resistance, oftentimes it is like inside of ourselves, but like all of those like systems in some way like are in a
It's pushing themselves into that.
right. Like we are there are aspects of our lives that are patriarchal, right? That are mostly male dominated or male led, or maybe we feel like men are better at doing the thing, right? But if we believe that thing, like that's another thing the book talks about, agreements, right? Like where did we get that thing from? You know what I mean? And so, but that's a part of the system. So if we believe that thing, we also have to give ourselves grace, right? Because the system that we were brought up in caused us to believe that, right? And now we continue to believe, if someone told us that the sky was green and we figured out the sky was blue until we was 25, then when we said the sky was green, we did our best. The sky was green because that's what they told. right? We agreed that the sky was green, and so we agreed that the sky was blue.
That's why I think my aunt to this day, because she always told me, don't let people be, nobody, what anybody say, always do your own research, whether the internet, book, whatever, do your own research.
It's important, because you just have to,
Google. Google.
let me tell you something. People pay people to Google, do you understand?
Research.
Yes, because that's what it is. It's go give me some information,
Right.
you know what I mean? So this is super interesting, I found. This is on page 79. It talks about doing your best is taking the action because you love it and not because you're expecting a reward. Anybody ever do anything because you knew you was gonna get something good at the end?
No, I don't never want to do anything, expect anything, because the fact that it feels, I don't know what it is. It made me feel good when I'm, no matter how small or big it is, whether it's financial or verbally, physically, whatever. If I can do any type of helpful thing that can progress in a positive manner, I'm doing God work, and that's all that matters. That's how I look at it. Because one day I'm gonna have to go on this heavily playing field and fight on 'em. So why not? While I'm still in the metaphysical world, I'm trying to push as much people towards him. So that we all can be better.
I feel that. I wish I was that noble, but I'm not.
When I was
I'm
a
not.
kid, I think, I can remember doing things, because you're gonna get money. We, as kids growing up in church was my world, and we used to, we didn't have air conditioning. Didn't even have fan.
I'm so sorry, that's the.
The country was so hot, we'd be down into, in Louisiana, and the old folks would give us like a nickel for paying them.
For how long though?
For whatever church is like, that's how church is like, we working shifts. It was hot and it was long, church was all that, but as a little kid, you didn't experience it the way they did, because we were still.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that. I know, like, my mom would give me money for lunch and stuff if I did good in school. Like, if I did good in school, she'd give me money so I could get stuff. So I made sure I always did good in school. So low key, I mean, once I got to college and I realized that you have to be externally motivated, like, you have to be internally motivated and externally motivated, I was like, oh man.
If anything, my motivation of always doing good is not to get consequences. Not to get reward.
Not to get the negative consequences. So if you don't do it, then what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Reward and punishment, yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, I think about Pavlov and what was the rats? What was it? Pavlov and the rats? Just like conditioning, like punishing these rats to condition them to not do one thing, but then not punishing the other one to condition them. It's all conditioning, right? So I think about, like, even when you train dogs, right? Like, when you tell a dog what to do and what not to do, you're conditioning them. Those are boundaries, right? Boundaries condition. When you figure out what you can do and what you can't do, that's when, and in that space is where I feel like you become who you are. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, how far you can go and where you're not willing to go, then, like, right there is where you can do your best, but you can't do your best outside of those goals. You know what I mean? Because you, first of all, you probably don't want to see what's back there, but, like, you want to make sure that, like, we're not comparing, right? Because, like, they talk about joy in this chapter as well, right? Like, and throughout this book, they talked about, like, how humans have an addiction or, like, have an inkling to, like, pain. You know what I mean? Like, we're more apt to suffer than we are to have joy. And I think that this chapter, and yeah, it's funny. I've referenced Brene Brown a couple of times during this, but Brene Brown talks about how in America we are, like, most heavily medicated, heavily fed, heavily intoxicated country, like, on the planet. Right?
I can do that.
Like,
Do that.
because of, like, the ways in which we escape,
That's true. It's true.
right? And, like,
Fool to something else, right? Me, mine be the enemy. And I do have a bad problem with that sometimes. I overdo it because I'm tired of life sometimes. I get fed up, frustrated. So, like, every door closing on me, but like, God is keep on punishing me. I must did something wrong, cause it's like, he like, nah, man, nah. Just relax, wait for me. And like, my problem was like, I can't wait for you, Lord. I know I'm supposed to wait for you, but I can't wait. It's like bills is today.
Bills, you was just talking about the, like, bills always being due, you know what I mean? I think it's important to, like, sometimes when life be life in, it's necessary to take a pause. You need to be like, all right, like, you doing a lot right now. Maybe I need to like sit down. Sometimes that's the work. Sometimes the work is sitting down and watching whatever you need to watch. Sometimes that's what you gotta do. And sometimes you have to do something else. But again, that's for you to judge. You know what I'm saying? If we're using anybody else's measuring stick to judge what we do or not do, then we are not living our lives for ourselves. We are living our lives for the people who the measuring stick belongs to. Right? So if you have a measuring stick and it was made by your mama, and your mama said when you was 5, your mama was like, here you go, son, I'm giving you a measuring stick. This is how you have to measure your entire life up. You was like, I cool, no problem. So now you 25, 30, whatever, you becoming a man. And then you looking at the stick and you like, the stick is giving like, now it's like a foot stick. When I was like 3 or 4, when I was 5, this felt like a yard, right? But now this feels like a foot, right? It doesn't feel like this is how, I feel like maybe I need to expand beyond, what you gave me. And that doesn't mean it's not good. I still need a stick, but I feel like I need to make my own stick as opposed to, okay, I got this stick from you, let me try and use it for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? It's more so like, I know that I took this stick as far as I could, right? I've outgrown it at this point. At one point it was this long and now it's this long to me, which means the only thing that's changed is me, right? Because the stick is the stick no matter what. The stick will remain the same length, right? So since I've changed now, this must change. And I think that even coming to that place and being like, oh, well, this isn't working, this isn't working. I see that, but there's a lot of times where I have to run into walls and be like, oh, wow, this really isn't working. But I tried it many times, over and over and over and over again, to a point where it must be sickening to do. But baby, that's just how many times I needed to do it in order for me to learn that that wasn't what I needed to be doing no more. And it's also in order for me to accept that that's not what I needed. Because sometimes it's harder just for us to accept that we need to let something go than keep something. And that's what gets in the way of us actually moving towards the thing that we want. And it sucks because like what is happening is like, I don't understand why things are so hard. Like I don't understand why I feel like I'm up against so much resistance. But my therapist talks a lot about how there's resistance and there's love. You know what I'm saying? Like those are like the two ways that you can look at life. And so wherever you see resistance, there just needs to be more love. And when there's more love, you first start like love with yourself. You know what I mean? What does more love for you look like if you're experiencing resistance to this thing in this time? Like, how can you be kinder to yourself? How can you be more nice to yourself? Because being mean doesn't actually yield results. It's wild. Being mean to yourself actually doesn't yield the results that we want it to yield, no matter how long we do it to ourselves. It never is going to give like A+. You know what I mean? It's always going to give below C. Because if you know how like people say, oh, be kind to people because you never know what they're going through. You never know, right? Like people don't know what you're going through. Like someone walking down the block and say something about you, but not know that like, I don't know, maybe you lost your dog this morning. You know what I'm saying? Like people can do it, but it's all about mindset. You know what I mean? Like it's about like, okay, how can in my brain, how can I hold myself, my whole self, entire self, and other people, not just me, right? Or not just the measuring stick that my mama gave, or not just like to do our best. We also have to know that, okay, well, this is the best I could do up until this point, and now I must do better, right? Now I have to like plan for what that better looks like for me. But it's so much better to plan for that better than it is for me to stay where I'm at, right? Like it's similar to like when you have a plant and you have it in a pot and then it starts to grow. And then at some point, you gotta take the pot out the plant and put it in a bigger pot in order for it to grow taller. If you don't, it will stay the same size. You understand what I'm saying? Or it will start dying. Right? And so it's just, you have to, pick and choose, like, because are you gonna stay in the fire or you're not? And it's crazy because even when you take a plant out the pot, like that's a very traumatic event for a plant.
Yeah, it is.
Like it's not cute. Like that you are literally in surgery. Like you are literally taking it's the most sensitive time. You know what I'm saying?
Roots and, very-
Yeah, they're like very sensitive during that time. And sometimes for us, when we're learning, okay, well, my best can be better, or really accepting or being kinder to ourselves, right? Like, okay, I really did do my best. I'm gonna accept that was my best, and I'm gonna also accept that, whatever next time is, I can do better than my best this time. You know what I mean? And I think it's about seeing either the glass half full or half empty. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on how you look at it. And I think that, excuse me, this text just does a really good job at helping us to change our perspective by changing the agreements that we make with the world, with ourselves, and understanding the agreements that we make. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, and this was a very simple example, but they talk about, if I agree that I'm ugly, right, then I'm ugly, right? If I agree that I am unwell, then I'm unwell. Because it is about what we believe, right? What we believe is and that's why everything that we do is connected to what we believe, what we think, right? Like what we find is true. If I think that it benefits me to go outside every day, I'm gonna go outside every day, right? If I believe that it's important to take a shower every day, I'm gonna take a shower. If I believe a thing, I'm going to live in accordance with the belief. Now, when our lives are not in accordance to our beliefs, or we feel that resistance, right, in life, where we're like, ooh, this doesn't quite feel aligned, to go with our card that we pull at the top of it, right? This doesn't feel good for me anymore. Maybe this was my best before, but I don't think this is my best now. Right? Like, maybe I saw that outfit, I've worn this outfit 5 times, but I think if I add a necklace to this outfit, that it's gonna take this outfit up 10 notches. That it's gonna be a whole different outfit. Maybe if I stop wearing these sneakers, which is that outfit, I could, but that outfit was fly though. You know what I'm saying? But the outfit was still fly. Right? But it could be even flyer if you take those shoes and put it with this outfit. Do something else with it, right? But in order to sometimes to see the future, you have to just accept right now. So, okay, well, that's good. And now I can go on ahead and do something else. And I think that this book and this agreement about doing our best just talks a lot also about love. You know what I'm saying? Just about the energy of love, that frequency of love, being connected to God, right? Being connected to source, whatever it is that folks call, that energy in their lives. And this book talks about how if we are mean to ourselves, or if we go against ourselves, that is sin, right? So if we cut into ourselves, if we beat ourselves up, right? If we self-harm ourselves or punish ourselves in that way, that is the, right? Because we are still made in God's image. We still deserve, we deserve to be treated well. We deserve to be treated with fairness. We deserve to be treated with kindness and care. And if that's not coming from myself, right? Then okay, now I gotta be nicer to myself, because God wouldn't. It's like, yes, God. I think this is something about Abrahamic traditions as well, about God being this person who's yelling at you in the sky, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me and my politics and my perspective, right? God doesn't look like that. Right. And God has looked like that for me many times. And when God did look like that for me, it was hard because I felt like I was always being judged for every little thing that I did. And so it didn't help me grow. It just helped me be scared. And so it was a form of behavior modification as opposed to actually building a belief or a relationship or a system with a deity or God or an energy that's supposed to be supporting me in my life.
Yeah.
Right. But once I moved away from the tradition of, God is the evil sky daddy who is yelling at me about all the things I didn't do, as opposed to, God loves me, God cares about me. because God loves me and cares about me, God wants me to love and care about myself. So this is how I'm gonna love and care about myself, which means I'm not gonna be me. You know what I'm saying? But that's about making another agreement, which goes back to the entire thing about the book. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I gonna believe? Right? What do I believe already? Right? And these are like questions you can take with you, right? But what do I believe already? You know, what is like the fruit of my life showing me that I believe? Right? Because sometimes we believe one thing, but our life is doing another thing. And then we have to be like, okay, well, where are the discrepancies here? Right? Like, what's happening? Like, if I say I want to be like losing weight and I'm eating ice cream every day, then like that's probably not in service to the intention that I want to set, right? And so we want to make sure that we're all aligned. You know, everything you want to make sure that why you're doing the thing that you're doing is like adding up to the other thing, it's going to the other thing, right? But it's not for you to know what the other thing is, it's just for you to know what love feels like. All you gotta know is that.
You know, something deep, like you talking about what you believe in everything. Bruce Lee actually said that, he said, never talk down about yourself, never say anything negative about yourself, never ever allow anybody else to, because your body will know the difference.
That's a fact.
Mm.
It's true. The body doesn't know. So like it's the same thing we're supposed to have like PTSD, right? Like flashback to certain things, right? The body doesn't know that the attack was 5 years ago or that the attack is today. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be a cat or a lion, but your body is going to react and respond in the same way. And if it was a lion, it don't matter.
Yeah.
Right. So but that's another thing. Like you have to think about who's teaching us to understand our body.
That's right.
Right? Like, what are we learning about our bodies? You know, what's that information giving me? Right? Like, how do I know that my body's good? Like, how do I know my body actually feels good? Right? How do I know that it's actually in alignment? How do I know that everything is cool? And I think that's important because everyone's baseline is different.
That's right.
What feels
Everybody-
100% for you is different from what feels 100% for you and for me, right?
Shoot, you can be going about 5 minutes, I'm going about 20.
Right. It all depends on the body. It all depends on the body. And I think that's where a lot of my work just generally as like a practitioner, like really lies like in that somatic piece. Like how do we like connect to like what this feels like in our body, right? Because our feelings, and my therapist, shout out to her, she put this to me. Like our feelings, like they come to our bodies, right? And we feel them in our bodies because they're supposed to give us information.
Yeah.
Right? Our feelings are supposed to, you know, it's like a little friend tapping you on the shoulder, being like, yo, I just want to let you know, at this time, you was feeling a little angry or whatever. So, you know, maybe that's what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to like damn you to hell.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're feeling these feelings and now you're overwhelmed. It's like, no, they're just here to like let us know, like green light, red light, yellow light, left, right, straight, you know, help us navigate. But if we don't see them as navigation tools and we see them as enemies, right? Just like if we see like a cat as an enemy as opposed to it being a doesn't matter, right? Like the body is gonna respond in the same way that it would if you wasn't. So it's like, I think overall, this book has really provided, I've read this book before, excuse me, and going through the book in this way, like definitely revealed a lot of wisdom to me that I got in my first time around when I read this book. And so because it is currently 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm shout out to all y'all for y'all patience. I want us to go into like a minute meditation, right? Talking about alignment, right? That was the card that we pulled at the beginning of this is what I love about cards. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Anybody going that fast? Yeah, what just started?
you know what? Put that on the form. So they put that on the website. Okay. Get that done on Facebook. So let us go through a 60-second, right? I'm gonna put on a timer. And what we're gonna do is make this mudra with our hands, just literally like holding like a little ball in your hand. Imagine you have a really you know, a nice little fur thing, you're out here, you're trying to hold it. Like, oh my gosh, you're so precious. You know what I mean, right? But not like Lord of the Rings precious, you know what I'm saying? Just like cute precious, right? And as we go through the 60-second meditation, I'm gonna continue to read the focus over and over again, and that's the thing that you are going to focus on as you are meditating. And you want to make sure you're breathing regularly, in through your nose, out through your nose, out through your mouth, whatever feels good for you. You know, just a nice even breath. So we're gonna inhale through our nose on the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale through our nose or our mouth. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you can just continue to keep that box breathing, counting for 4, inhaling, exhaling for 4. And this is our focus. All of who I am is in perfect alignment and well-being. And all you gotta do is listen to the focus and breathe. It's like probably the easiest job people have been given all day. Okay? All of who I am is in perfect alignment and well-being. Again, this is the easiest job we've had all day. Okay? You sit here with your hands together. Okay, all of who I am is in perfect alignment and well-being. And that's your 60-second meditation. Yeah. That you however many breaths you took within those 60 seconds, those were breaths that you were aware of.
Deep breath.
I like that the book ends, begins the book with a prayer for freedom and a prayer for love. Because in some ways, they I think are two sides of the same coin. Love and freedom. And I think in many ways, all of us desire both. And that freedom can be from different things, depending on what each one of our lives. And just was sharing in the text, it feels out of alignment. And just bringing that back into alignment. I don't think it was sort of hard. That was out of alignment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It's.
Told you everywhere, it's why.
Look, so distorted.
Yeah,
Yeah, it really does. And
even like a bicycle that's out of line.
think about our lives in that. Think about your life in that. You're moving, but it's just wow, out of whack.
Yeah.
And
I feel that.
yeah. And we want to be free.
Yeah, and to
Mhm.
be free means to be aligned.
We want to be free.
Yeah.
And so that's my desire for me. And for you.
So scary is that sometimes love can be a key.
I think it's still the glass half full and half empty thing. It really depends on how you look at it. It depends on what you believe love is for. If you believe that love is causing you to do something that harms yourself or harms other people, that in essence is not right, because the spirit or energy of love is always going to give you goodness, grace, right? Like that's what that spirit is. And so sometimes, like we get into relationships with people and they get real toxic, you know what I'm saying? And like we think, okay, like this is love, like this is what we're doing. But if it's harming you, if it's harming someone else, if it's taking away from your peace, right? If it's taking away from your peace of mind, right, then it's not love.
Part of our belief system and agreements we've made, because we learn what love feels like from how we've experienced it in our life. And if we've experienced love as hurtful, as painful, as abusive, as non-affirming, then we begin to believe that that's what love is.
I think some people mess up trying to love other people more than they love themselves. That should mess up that too.
That's true.
Going out, and you can't give out of an empty well.
Definitely
So
cannot.
I can't give you water to drink if I don't have water in my well.
Well, it's like
And
trying to
what's
pour
the
water in a
out of
broken
an alignment.
There's an African proverb that says, do not trust a man. Oh my gosh, I gotta find it.
The degree to which we can love another is the degree to which we love us. I can't love anyone more than I love me. Don't care what we believe about it. We may want to, and I think we all want to love, like we all want to be free. We may not know because we've made an agreement or we have a belief system that we are not really aware of. And so we are able to let go of that belief system. And then open up the windows of love, because love is life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, life is like breath. Inhaling and exhaling, it's fresh. And when love is got you in a cage, you're not free. I will just ask, what is my beliefs?
And the quote, the proverb, it's an African proverb that says, be careful when a naked person offers you a shirt.
Yeah. Can't give you what you're going.
That means they stole it.
Want to get the negative person.
Beware of, never, be careful when a naked person offers you a shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's definitely, first of all, don't give me your shirt.
You naked. Why
God,
you give me
if
the
I take a shirt that you don't.
Yeah, it's the shirt's not on you, it's in your hand, and where, you can't be giving me no shirt.
Yeah.
Don't be giving me no shirt.
Again, this was a great discussion. I don't know if everyone had suggestions for another book. I have three. And these are, you know, my top one is one I've been reading, but, The Tao of Forgiveness. I don't know if you've heard of this. It's kind of a small book.
Oh, medicine.
Small book like, before reading. But I thought about, we could go into another kind of reading. Okay, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Well, it's whatever we decide, or if there are other suggestions. I just came up with three that I have, but then there's space.
Yeah, I like that.
for the other-
If we're, you know, when I see James Baldwin, I miss the recent James Baldwin.
Yeah.
I have one recommendation.
Okay. All right, let's add it to the list.
It is,
That's
yeah,
the movie that Denzel Washington.
I love
had.
that movie, man. It's,
yeah, it was on.
Denzel Washington,
And
man.
my favorite book to read,
Oh, and what?
which they had eventually made a movie out of it, was the Life of Pi.
Michael Pye, that was good. I didn't read the book, but
That
I.
movie was real good, man.
The author of the book, her name is Marianne Williamson.
Yeah.
It's a return to love,
Return to the.
which is kind of, it's similar in vein to this book. And I always go back to like quotes from a return to love. Which makes me then also think about, is it Bell Hooks? It's All About Love by Bell Hooks. Also, we got men in here. It'd be real cool to hear y'all thoughts on
Well,
love.
that's what, when you're saying, Steve Harvey, what was the book that he did?
Act like a lady, think like a lady.
Yeah.
Child, I done read that book, listened to
Talk
it.
Curry got good books. I
Harvey.
want to read Steve Harvey.
I would like to read this fantasy book.
That what you gotta read about the Life of Pi. Life of Pi, like.
Yeah. Well, my fences day is over. I don't find fences. I pull gigs now. Nah, that's the one I like. Yeah, that's the one I was getting there.
No, I know that.
Never read it.
That's the one that caught my
So I got Steve Harvey. Any other suggestions you put on the list? And then, the Life of Pi.
So in that movie, would they make different pies?
No, the movie.
Yeah. Any, you have a suggestion, Jenny? Okay. Jessica, do you want to be on the,
I don't know.
Facilitator, do we need to select another?
It depends on the book.
Yeah,
I would like to make a movie, I mean, that, book fest, too.
you would like fences.
Yeah. If y'all don't mind.
I've never read fences, so I would like to read.
Me too, and that was a good movie too, but I didn't know why.
I mean, I think if we do fences, our last session, we could watch the movie.
Mm,
How's that?
yeah, that was a good movie. That was a good movie.
And have a
Yeah.
discussion like that.
Yeah, that was
So,
a good
okay,
movie.
fellas, what do you say?
Yeah.
Ladies, choice this time and then.
But I'm not facilitated though.
That'll work.
I'll read the book though.
Read the book.
I'll read the book.
Next time, we can go like the talk.
I did a discussion about the movie.
Okay,
It's different.
okay, all right.
The life prize really is like a deep.
No, I love the life of pi. Before we go, I have, it's the last class, so we have to do our little presentation. So Jessica,
Oh, me?
Yeah, very
That's
good.
me.
Jessica.
Oh, that's, okay, that's me.
What do you want?
Oh,
So,
I went to you, cause she said,
you can do you can take a picture from me. You be
Oh,
the
me?
cameraman.
you?
You be the cameraman for me?
Okay.
All right, so, the book study and our Tuesday night study group is a real important ministry for Trying to Life. It allows us time to really have, form community, because we get to know one another as we share, and I just appreciate the way, both male and female, young men and women have just shared really authentically. Transparency, and that sometimes is a hard thing to do, but I think we're able to do that as we grow and form community. And we feel safe with one another, which in this space, it has been our intention for it to be a safe and sacred space. So I wanted to applaud all of you for being a part of this community. You're one to take where you go. Catch the moment, take the moment, and you can take short videos, you're the videographer, photographer, all of that. So, we always at the end, present a certificate to, those that have participated, just to mark in time, what we've done. Beyond, my moment here at Triumph, so for future moments, so, let's see, who do I have first? A few of our attendees are not here tonight, but I'm going to start with
You know, want a group picture?
our community mother. And I'm gonna ask Jessica to come on down, let's just applaud her as she comes. And you have to put a picture on the same way. Let me tell you that, photographer, because otherwise I can't post them the way I need to. I gotta do all the same. All right, so Jessica is really special because as I started here in February, my question, just move over so that just move over a little bit, Jackie. My question when I came here, it was just me, was who am I here for and who is here for me? And so I started getting some folks maybe a little bit during the week for Tai Chi, but on Sundays, I was still just by myself. And so the first one that came on Sunday that walked in was this young lady right here. And she, with her bright bubbly self, and just really made my day. And she's become a real support of the center. And I call her the community mother because she tries to keep everybody in check. And I just love her for that. But this is presented to Jessica Ham. And it says, we have as a part of our ministry, some of what you all are not aware of. And over time you get to know, we have a school. And through that school, we have high school diplomas that we've been able to award that are state certified. But we also have a post-high school program. So the school is Triumph School of Integral Studies, and our study group is under that ministry. So this says, quote, be impeccable with your words. The first award. The certificate of completion was hereby awarded to Jessica Ham for successfully completing the community book study on the 4 agreements, a practical guide to personal freedom with Jessica Powell, AKA Sunday Rose Gold. Dennis Reverend Mother Sandra. Future Director awarded September 19th, 2023.
Yay.
Picture with her.
Come on, Jack. Bye. Thank you.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
And so the next one. This young lady is really awesome. Jamie Brewer, come on down. Jamie is an exceptional participant of the center. Let me just pull this out, stop that echo. Okay. Jamie has not missed one study lesson since we started with Pastor Eric Andrews, Pastor Floyd, and then with Sister Jessica. She hasn't missed one, and I always know she's coming through that door. And if you don't, I'll be really concerned. I'm gonna have to come look for you.
Right.
Because she has not missed one. So I just commend you for your commitment to staying the course. And I've learned so much about you and the way you just share in such a humble way. You know, your love for your son and how that just really comes through you when you talk about him, even the loss of your family members, your mom, and you've seen him, your son, you saw him.
Yes.
And I just thank God for you and for your life and for your journey. We're all dealt a different hand of cards in life. That's what you talked about tonight. And I always say, as a former big win player, not the hand you dealt. If you're good at cards, it's how you play your hand.
That's okay.
Good. Yeah, you have to know how to play the hand you're dealt. Because someone can have a better hand than you. But if you know the game, you can play your hand and win. And you have got a winning hand. You definitely, and you know, you have such a beautiful consonant. Your energy comes through on your face. So Triumph School of Integral Studies, be impeccable with your words. The first agreement, certificate of completion is hereby awarded to Jamie Brewer for successfully completing the community book study on the 4 agreements, a practical guide to personal freedom with Jessica Powell, AKA Sunday Rose Gold, and it's signed Reverend Lady Mother Sandra Addison Brito, spiritual director. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so this one is for, we're almost done. This one is. All right, this is for the new son. Brother Carey, would you come on? No, I have these first moments with everyone. The first for Jessica, but Brother Carey was the first one that came through for my Friday meditation, and he walked in and was like, "What's going on here?" And so with his curiosity and his energy, and he kept coming back, and he's become a real asset to this community. He did some outstanding work and transformed a part of that done in our other room today. And I just appreciate you. And I want you to know that, you know, wherever you're at right now in your life, this too will pass. Your destination is not where you're standing right now. You know, your future is far more than you could ever imagine. The scripture that says, now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundant above whatever you could ask for. You can't even imagine what's in store for you. Your eyes cannot even, and mind can't take it in. Just know that it's beyond this moment. And whatever trouble you're going through, this moment is like a launching pad. You're about to take flight. You take it. Triumph School of Integral Study, be impeccable with your word. The first agreement, certificate of completion is hereby awarded to Carrie Woodard for successfully completing the community book study on the four agreements, a practical guide to personal freedom with Jessica Powell, AKA Sunday Rose Gold, signed Reverend Lady Mother Sandra Addison Britta, Spiritual Director, awarded September 19, 2023.
Yeah.
I have one more.
My favorite.
Well, Sunday Rose Gold, come on.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, that's you. What can I say? This is such a. Full joy.
Yeah.
You are.
I'm like a joy in a tornado, you know?
Yeah, you came here for our meditation. It was quiet, you know, unassuming, didn't say a lot. And then you spoke to me and spoke to Jessica, and you invited us to an incredible event.
Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate
It was in that moment, it brought tears to my eyes there. That production, your performance, your words. Literally, it took me to a deep spiritual place. And I knew at that moment, I can't let that one go. I cannot let her go because you are a jewel. Just know, I just appreciate that I landed in this community and I was gifted to make you. Yeah, just know that. So this is presented to you because you gave of yourself to lead us on a journey. That wasn't an easy journey, because whenever you're talking from your own soul and your own vulnerabilities, it's not an easy thing to do. And I just want to appreciate you. So this is from the school. It's a Triumph School of Integral Study. Be impeccable with your words, the first agreement. This is a certificate of appreciation. It's presented to Jessica Powell, AKA Sunday Rose Gold, successfully facilitating
I did that.
Triumph Community Book Study on the four agreements, a practical guide to personal freedom, and signed by me, Reverend Lady Mother Sandra G. Brewer, Spiritual Director. Love you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
On in that,
Okay, now we need a group shot. Come get a group shot.
Look, my face hurts so much.
You got your, get
My face hurts.
group shot. Come on, Jamie, group shot.
Come on, where's Jamie at?
Oh, you going to, baby?
Yeah, come on, Miss Jamie. Come on, Miss Jamie, come on, Miss Jamie. Yes, sir? Yeah, but you got Miss Jamie? Who you play the camera?
Come on, production.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. All right. Okay, everyone, this was great.
Well, you got.
Thank you.